Hello everyone, my name is Dewi Lokasari. My student number is 140142124. Here I will presenting analysis of sentence from book and movie. My book is The 7 Habits of Happy Kids collection. My movie is Zootopia. I will presenting tenses on the book first. The first tense is simple present tense. The first sentence is I'm sorry you feel that way, Sammy, but you are smart too. The sentence is a simple present tense because there is a subject plus to be plus adjective, which is a characteristic of present tense. In this sentence is now when Sammy's teacher says sorry to Sammy. For the second sentence is the fact that Sammy is smart too. The second sentence is I think there is more than enough for both of us. The sentence is a simple present tense because there is subject plus verb 1, which is a characteristic of simple present tense. The time in this sentence is now, when Sammy and Sophie are talking. Sammy said that the pie was enough for both of them at the time. The second tense is simple past tense. The first sentence is he stopped and looked at his reflection in cherry. The sentence is a simple past tense because there is subject plus verb 2, which is a characteristic of simple past tense. The time in this sentence explains that the event that have occurred when Polkey finished playing with his friend. The second sentence is they made a nice tingly sound in the wind. This sentence is a simple past tense because there is subject plus verb 2, which is characteristic of simple past tense. The time in this sentence explains that this is an event that has happened. Polkey has wiggled his quills down so that it makes a nice tingly sound. Past continuous tense. The first sentence is he was sitting in his backyard feeling sad. This sentence is past continuous tense because there is subject plus was plus verb in, which is characteristic of past continuous. The time in this sentence explains that action was taking place at a certain time in the past. That is when the group's friends came to his house. Group was sitting in his backyard. The second sentence is that was invigorating. This sentence is past continuous tense because there is subject plus was plus verb in, which is characteristic of past continuous tense. The time in this sentence explains that the action was taking place at a certain time in the past when Sammy, Sophie, and group will walk through the woods. The atmosphere was invigorating. The next tense is present continuous tense. The first sentence is everything else is fleeting. This sentence is present continuous tense because there is subject plus to be plus verb in, which is a characteristic of present continuous tense. The time in this sentence explains that the action is take place for a certain time at present time. The next tense is simple future tense. The first sentence is class, I'm going to pair you up with a partner and have you write a poem to share with the class in 1 week. The sentence is a simple future tense because there is subject plus to be plus going to plus verb 1, which is characteristic of simple future tense. The time in this sentence explains an event that has not happened or will happen in the future and ends in the future. In this sentence, the teacher will pair the student and they will be given a task of writing a poem that will be read in class next week. The second sentence is I'll race home and get my favorite basketball sneakers right now. This sentence is simple future tense because there is subject plus to be plus going to plus verb 1, which is characteristic of simple future tense. The time in this sentence explains that an event that has not happened or will happen in the future and ends in the future. Jumper will run home and pick up the basketball sneakers. Next tense is present perfect tense. The first sentence is, I've got a special dessert tonight. This sentence is present perfect because there is subject plus have plus verb 3, which is a characteristic of present perfect. The time in the sentence explains an action or situation that has started in the past and still continuing until now, or has been completed at a certain point in the time. The past, but the impact is still continuing. The second sentence is, have you seen my magnifying glass? The sentence is present perfect because there is subject plus have plus verb 3, which is a characteristic of present perfect. This time, the time in the sentence is to explain that an action or situation that has started in the past and still continuing until now, or has been completed at a certain point in the time. In the past, but the impact is still continuing. They had started looking for Coop's stuff and have not finished when the Coop asks for his glasses. The next tense is present perfect continuous tense. I can find a sentence that is the present perfect continuous tense because there is no sentence that shows that something started in the past and continuing at the present time. The structure is subjects plus has or have plus been plus verb in next tenses is past perfect tense. The first sentence is the big day had arrived. This sentence is past perfect because there is subjects plus had plus verb 3, which is a characteristic of past perfect tense. Time in the sentence explains that an action was completed at some point in the past before another action occurred. It means that the big day has arrived and has happened in its final time and before the students show their form in front of the class. The next tense is past perfect continuous tense. The sentence is, they also found other things jumper had been missing for a long time. This sentence is the past perfect continuous tense because there is subject plus had been plus verb ing, which is characteristic of past perfect continuous tense. The time in this sentence explains that an action that started in the past continued up until another time in the past. Jumper's things was lost for a long time and finally found when Coop and Jumper were looking for basketball shoes. The next tense is future continuous tense. The sentence is, Coop won't be coming to school this week. This sentence is future continuous tense because there is subject plus won't be plus verb ing, which is a characteristic of future continuous tense. The time in this sentence explains that an event will occur in the future and will continue for some time. Coop will not coming to school this week, but for the next week he will back to school. The next tense is future perfect continuous. I can found a sentence that is the future perfect continuous tense because there is no sentence that describes an action that will continue up until a point in the future. The structure is subject plus will have been plus verb ing. The next is conditional sentence type 1. The sentence is, if you get to know him, you will find that Beef is really nice and he has lots of good ideas just like you. This sentence is conditional sentence type 1 because there is if plus simple present, will plus verb 1, which is characteristic of conditional sentence type 1. This sentence is used to refer to events that are expected occur in the future. It means that Shopee don't recognize Beef, who is actually nice. Next is conditional sentence type 2. The first sentence is, if I had an ant, I would hide him in a plant. The sentence is conditional sentence type 2 because there is if plus past tense, would plus verb 1, which is characteristic of conditional sentence type 2. The sentence is used to talk about facts that are contrary with current situation. It means I don't have an ant, so I don't hide him in plant. The second sentence is, if I had a ball, I would bounce it off a wall. This sentence is conditional tense sentence type 2 because there is if plus past tense, would plus verb 1, which is characteristic of conditional sentence type 2. This sentence is used to talk about facts that are contrary with current situation. It means that I don't have a ball, so I don't bounce it off a wall. The next is conditional sentence type 3. I can found sentence that is the conditional sentence type 3 because there is no sentence that explains that present circumstance would be different if something different had happened in the past. The structure is if plus subject plus had plus verb 3 would plus have plus verb 3. Next, I will be presenting tenses on the movie. The first tense is simple present tense. First sentence is, I think it is called DNA. The sentence is a simple present tense because there is subject plus verb 1, which is characteristic of present tense. The sentence talks about facts about DNA. The second sentence is, we are proud of you, Judy. This sentence is a simple present tense because there is subject plus to be plus adjective, which is a characteristic of simple present tense. Time in this present tense is now, when Judy go to Zootopia for the first time. Then her parents say that. The second tense is simple past tense. The first sentence is, I got the first rank in the academy. This sentence is simple past tense because there is subject plus verb 2, which is a characteristic of simple past. The time in this sentence explains that the event that occurred in the past. Judy got the first rank in the academy. It means she has finished her academy. The second sentence is, he tricked you to the roots. This sentence is simple past tense because there is subject plus verb 2, which is a characteristic of simple past tense. The time in this sentence explains that this event that happened in the past. The next is past continuous tense. I can found the sentence that is the past continuous tense because there is no sentence that explains that action was taking place at a certain time in the past. The structure is subject plus was or were plus verb ing. The next tense is present continuous tense. The sentence is, he is running away. The sentence is present continuous tense because there is subject plus to be plus verb ing, which is characteristic of present continuous tense. The time in this sentence explains that the action is take place for a certain time at the present time. It is mean that he is running away now and for some time ahead. The second sentence is, you are looking in the rainforest district. This sentence is present continuous tense because there is a subject plus to be plus verb ing, which is characteristic of present continuous tense. The time in this sentence explains that the action is take place for a certain time at the present time. It means Judy looking for in the rainforest district now and for some time ahead. The next tense is simple future tense. The first sentence is, you will go to Zootopia, a city far and wide. This sentence is simple future because this is a subject plus will plus verb 1, which is a characteristic of simple future tense. The time in this sentence explains an event that has not happened or will happen in the future, and in the future in this sentence, Judy will go to Zootopia. That means she has not left yet. The second sentence is, I'll keep on making them every day. This sentence is simple future because there is subject plus will plus verb 1, which is characteristic of simple future tense. The time in this sentence explains an event that has not happened or will happen in the future and in the future too. The next tense is present perfect tense. Have you ever imagined how nice is your mom and dad? This sentence is present perfect because there is subject plus have plus verb 3, which is characteristic of present perfect. The time in this sentence explains an action or situation that has started in the past and still continuing until now, or has been completed at a certain point in the time in the past, but the impact is still continuing. The next sentence is I've done this since birth. This sentence is present perfect because there is subject plus have plus verb 3, which is characteristic of present perfect. The time in this sentence explains an action or situation that has started in the past and still continuing until now, or has been completed at a certain point in the time on the past, but the effect is still continuing. The perpetrator in this sentence has started do something since birth and until now. The next tense is present perfect continuous. The sentence is I've been waiting in this time all my life. This sentence is present perfect continuous because there is subject plus have been plus verb ing, which is characteristic of present perfect continuous. The time in this sentence explains that action occur in the past and continuing at the present time. The next tense is past perfect tense. The sentence is I had forgotten from the beginning. This sentence is past perfect because there is subject plus had plus verb 3, which is characteristic of past perfect tense. Time in this sentence explains that an action was completed at some point in the past before another action occurred. The next tense is past perfect continuous tense. I can find a sentence that is the past perfect continuous tense because there is no sentence that explains an action that started in the past, continued until another time in the past. The structure is subject plus had been plus verb ing. The next tense is future continuous tense. I can find a sentence that is the future continuous tense because there is no sentence that explains an event will occur in the future and will continue for some time. The structure is subject plus will be plus verb ing. The next tense is future perfect continuous tense. I can find a sentence that is the future perfect continuous tense because there is no sentence that describes an action that will continue up until the point in the future. The structure is subject plus will have been plus verb ing. The next sentence is conditional sentence type 1. The first sentence is if you don't try new things you won't find. This sentence is conditional sentence type 1 because there is if plus simple present will not plus verb 1, which is characteristic of conditional sentence type 1. This sentence is used to refer to events that are expected occur in the future. It means that if you don't try new things in the future, then you won't fail. The second sentence is I will give warning without giving sanction if you can serve analyze. This sentence is conditional sentence type 1 because there is if simple present will not plus verb 1, which is characteristic of conditional sentence type 1. This sentence is used to refer to events that are expected occur in the future. It means that in the future, I will give warning without giving sanction if you can serve the condition. The next sentence is conditional sentence type 2. The sentence is I would be happy if I could have a partner. This sentence is a conditional sentence type 2 because there is if plus past tense could plus verb 1, which is characteristic of conditional sentence type 2. This sentence is used to talk about facts that are contrary with current situation. It means I don't have a partner, so I'm not happy. The second sentence is it would be better if the predator did not work at the front desk. This sentence is conditional sentence type 2 because there is if plus past tense would plus verb 1, which is characteristic of conditional sentence type 2. This sentence is used to talk about facts that are contrary with current situation. The last is conditional sentence type 3. I can find a sentence that is conditional sentence type 3 because there is no sentence that explains that present circumstance would be different if something different had happened in the past. The structure is if plus subject plus had verb 3 would have plus verb 3. In the end, thank you for your attention. Correct me if I'm wrong, and see you later.